Hey everybody, and welcome back to Plok. I'm going to be flying solo for this update because really there's just one level and then a boss, and I have a few things to talk about, so I'm just going to handle this one on my own, and I'll be back with a guest next time, so don't worry. So we're in Plok Town, which is our first level back in color, and we see some new enemies up there, but I'm gonna talk about them in a second, because right now I'd just like to talk about the mystical amulet that we got from the Legacy Island stages. And this will certainly make fans of Angry Plok happy, because now we can make him angry on command. If you alternate the L and R buttons, you can actually turn into a buzzsaw when you use your high jump, which is kind of helpful. It kind of helps for taking out the fleas. I did take damage attempting to take one out just there. Basically what it does is it ignores invincibility frames for the fleas. So if they're in the air, they pretty much die immediately, but if they're on the ground, they'll take 2 hits worth of damage. So if you've hit them once, feel free to jump into them. If not, you're gonna take a hit if they're on the ground. But these new enemies that we see are sprouts, if I'm to understand correctly. And they're unique but a little annoying to take out, because when you punch them, or kick them, or whatever, they kind of look like they get electrocuted or something and fly up into the air. And you have to hit them while they're up in the air and electrocuted, and I didn't take that buzzsaw because that egg hadn't hatched yet, and I would have just went right by the flea and not done anything to it and would have had to backtrack quite a ways. So it's a shame because that buzzsaw does take you quite a ways, and you get to skip just a few things and destroy a couple logs that are going to be in the way later. So anyway, the sprouts are a new enemy that we'll be seeing in the next few levels, I believe. We'll certainly see newer versions of them later. So that's something to watch for. And now I'm actually showing off the hornets that I never did in one of the previous updates. And this is actually not a bad place to use them because the fleas are kind of confined to narrow passageways, so they actually do a decent job of pathfinding and destroying them. So anyway, here is a little bit of a trick I want to talk about. There's 1/4 of a continue right there if you just walk on by this platform and go to the other side. And this level's long. We're at the point in the game where levels start to be really long. Oh, and I found a secret. It looked kind of suspicious up there, so I figured to jump up there and hey, what do you know, I found a thing with a bunch of shells in it. But anyway, like I was saying, these levels are starting to get long. As you can see, this video is about 9 minutes long, and like I said, there's just one level and a boss. And there's actually a trick that speedrunners do. They do it in this level, and I think one other level, at least in the run I watched, which was at the SGDQ marathon. And if you've never seen it, if you don't care about the rest of the game, or when I finish this Let's Play, go check out that race because it's a good race and you'll learn quite a bit about the game. And they're probably far more entertaining than I am. But this level's really long, but there is a continue emblem in it. And how this game works is when you pick up a continue emblem, the game thinks you must have got it from the end flag. So if you actually pick up the continue medal that I did just there a few seconds ago and get a game over and continue, it will actually spawn you at the next level because the game thinks in order to get the continue on this stage you had to have beat the level without dying. So it's just a neat little programming thing, and it's kind of interesting to see that things are programmed that way. And like I said, it's nothing too real game breaking. Like I said, it's used on this level and I think one other level right near the end of the game. So it's not anything you have to worry about like being a filthy cheater or something going through it. But I guess it is nice to have some kind of neat little trick that you can skip a long level like this. Because it certainly is long, and the next few levels are even longer. But we're on the home stretch of this one. There's just some time jumps you have to make, and the game's nice enough to kind of show a little color when the thing's about to fade away, so you know when to time your jumps, and it's not too bad. So we've killed the last flea, and the flag is up near the pole, so the only thing left to do is to just go raise the flag. Or is it? There's actually, if you go to the left, yet another continue emblem. So if you don't die on this stage, it's actually possible to get 3/4 of a continue. And I just finished up another continue right here, which is always nice. So now, you know, I'm just gonna kill this guy, because why not? Alright, so we finished the one and only regular level of this update. And we're on to a boss, which, as Skip Things kind of talked about in the last update, it kind of really makes you feel like the Legacy Island levels are just kind of tacked on, because they're kind of in the middle of what would otherwise be just a normal level sequence, about 4 or 5 levels or so, and then a boss. But anyway, about this boss. These are the Penkinos, and there are 4 of them, and they're these spotted magician-looking guys, and they're really annoying to fight. They are very random in their flying patterns, and how you fight them is you shoot your limbs at these targets that make these spikes pop out, and hopefully they will be flying over some spikes while they pop out. They'll deflate and fall down, and you can hit them. The more you hit them, of course, the more things they drop, and I think I said something in the first update about a Toho-esque stream of bullets. This is a case in this game where that comes true, because the more you hit them, the more they drop, and it can be very difficult and actually impossible if you get a bad pattern sometimes, because these guys are pretty random and they're flying around. If you really want to make this fight take a long time, you can just try to target just one and kill them one at a time, so that the other 3 will be kind of slow moving and won't drop a lot of things, but that makes it take a really long time. And I actually had a really good fight, my first attempt. I guess I have time to tell the story because this is a really long fight, but when I was recording the video for the last update, I just did a test run through the levels, say, okay, just let me get my bearings again to run through these levels. And I didn't record it, and I ran through the levels and beat the boss, the Bobbins Brothers rematch, on my first try. I thought, well, that was great if only I was recording, because it was a great run. And then, of course, once I started recording, I died a couple times to the boss. So I figured this was actually my test run, and I said, okay, I'm just gonna run through this boss, just to, you know, get the feel for it again. But I'm gonna record it this time, and I actually did it. So, yay me, I guess. But this fight really is long. It helps that Plok actually has a really small hitbox, so when they are on this stage of the fight, where they're not dropping them every pixel, if that makes sense, but like every other one, you can actually stand in between them if your spacing is good enough, and not get hit. Because, you know, Plok looks kind of big, but his hitbox is pretty small. That you can't dodge, though. So you gotta walk out the way. And for some reason I just prefer the left target. I don't know why. So that's the one I predominantly use in this fight. But really you just get into a big pattern of shooting your limbs at the target, hopping back to the hangar, and hoping that one of these guys flies into the spikes. Because like I said, they're pretty random, and they can actually get into a pattern where they just won't fly in front of the spikes for a really long time. But all that's over, and the last one's dead. And it looks like I could have been hit once more. I don't think twice, but I definitely could have taken one more hit. But anyway, this boss is down, and the next update will be a lot longer, and I'll have a guest like I said. But that's about it for this one. So, as always, thank you for watching, and have a great day.